Hey everyone, welcome to our PLF coaching call. I'm excited to have you here. We're going to have a great call. We've got a lot of people on the call, and if it's anything like the last few calls we've had, we're going to just have a great time here. We're going to go about 90 minutes, and yeah. So, woohoo! We just released Module 4 yesterday. This is awesome. We're in the thick of it now. We're really getting into the meat, where we're getting into creating your pre-launch content, which is really the heart and soul of your launch. Module 4's also got a lot of great stuff on launch lists and the actual creation of the pre-launch content. So it's a pretty meaty module, but it's good stuff. What you're going to learn here in Module 4 is going to change everything for you and your business forever. So you just get this down and really understand how to structure your pre-launch, and you win. And this is going to work not just if you go forward and do internal launches, but this stuff, you can take this and use the same skills you're learning here everywhere throughout your business, whether it's a squeeze page, whether it's a seed launch, whether it's a quick launch, whether it's a JV launch, whether it's putting together a proposal for a joint venture partner, no matter what, whether it's writing your email copy, putting together a quick promotion, no matter what, you're going to be able to use this stuff. So this is really, really key stuff. This is how you build your launch, and also how to manage your list. There's a lot in this module in the launch list secret. How do you manage your lists during a launch? And you can easily get twice the response in your in all your promotions if you really figure out how to maximize the strategically using your list. So this is important, critical stuff. And then I just want to thank you for being here. We've got a big turnout here on this call. This is probably, for a fourth call, this is probably the biggest turnout we've ever had in any PLF class. So that is exciting. Congratulations for being here. Congratulations for continuing to show up. It's a big deal. It is not something to be taken lightly. It is a big deal. When you stepped up to Product Launch Formula, you said yes to stepping up to a bigger vision of your business, a bigger vision of your future, a bigger vision of your life, and you're following through. So it's awesome that you are here with us on this fourth call. I don't care if you're just getting started, if you're still, in Module 1, it doesn't matter. You're going to work your way through it. But showing up here and participating in these calls is huge. There's been so much participation in the community. It's been awesome. So congratulations and thanks for being here. And next week is going to be just, Module 5 is completely epic. It's just incredibly epic. That's where I will walk you through the pre-launch. So this module, we're showing how to create pre-launch content, but next week in Module 5, I'm going to walk you through real-life examples from other PLF owners, walking through each one of their launches or each one of their launch videos and showing you exactly how they did, what they did well, what they could possibly do differently in the future. So I think Module 5 might be the best teaching I've ever done. We're going to release that next Monday. It's going to be completely epic. I know for many of us, for most of us maybe, we're heading into the midst of the holiday season, and your busy life is even busier. But like I said, these two modules are just incredible. If I say so myself, okay, hopefully I'm not, doesn't come off as too braggadocious. And remember that perfection is going to kill you faster than anything. You cannot worry about being perfect. You just have to worry about getting started. That's how you win, is you get started and you just put one foot in front of the other and take those baby steps. And there's a comment. I was just in the portal answering comments for, it must have been like 3 hours last night. It was awesome because there's some great comments and great questions. And one of the comments was like, boy, I feel sorry for the people that dropped off, that aren't with us still here in Module 4. And I agree. I feel sorry for them as well, and that's why I work so hard to get you to keep going and keep showing up. But it reminded me, like, the thing is, like, I remember I'm not a very musical person. Never really did much with music. I love music, but in terms of playing it, I didn't do much. But I did have some guitar lessons in 5th grade. And you know, I took them for, I don't know, 4 or 5, 6 weeks. And then frankly, some friends of mine were listening to me play, and they were ridiculing me, and that set me back, and I ended up putting the guitar down and never really picking it up. And the thing is, like, if in 5th grade, if I just had kept at that a little bit each week, you know, by now I'd be this amazing virtuoso. And you know, it's just, that's what it takes, is showing up and taking those baby steps. Now, the conclusion to that is, about 10 years ago, I was inspired by watching some people play, just really informally. So I ended up getting the guitar and picking it up again. So yeah, it would have been awesome if I would have stuck with it, and I want you to stick with it and stick with it all the way through. But if you have to come back 2 weeks from now, that's fine. Just don't leave it aside. You can always come back to it. And so, you know, if you're overwhelmed, if you get caught up in the holidays, that's fine to take a little breather. The material's still going to be there. We'll have it available to you for at least a year. And frankly, we usually make it much longer than that, but it's going to be at least a year that you'll you'll be able to get it. But don't beat yourself up if you've fallen behind. That's okay. Just end up picking up the guitar down the road and get right back into it. So, you guys all with me? Let me know that you're listening to me, that you can hear me. Type something in there. Say hi. Okay, awesome. We got lots of folks here. Okay, I used this quote last week. I liked it so much that I'm going to repeat this one, because I see a lot of people there's some fear creeping up in the comments, that people are starting to feel a little overwhelmed, a little bit of fear. It's okay to feel that fear. It's like what you do with it. That's what makes a difference. And Nelson Mandela said this: I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. So it's fine to feel that fear, to feel overwhelmed, to be scared, to be worried, to not know. I'll tell you what, I get scared every single time I do a launch. I get scared. There's always this period shortly, you know, it's like the day before you open cart and everything seems like it's come together, but boy, you're just about, oh my gosh, and it comes down to pressing that send button. And you know, I've been doing this for 20 years and I still get scared then. It's okay. It's okay to feel that fear. It's what you do. It's just continuing to move forward as you feel that fear. That's what makes a difference. And here's one from Rosa Parks, also on fear. I've learned over the years that when one's mind is made up, this diminishes fear. Knowing what must be done does away with the fear. So that's what I've tried to do with PLF, is I've just tried to give you the steps. This is what you do. Because it's true. I mean, so a lot of times, you know, if you don't know what to do, that can really stop you. And knowing what to do really does diminish the fear. And even naming something, if you know what it's called, if it's called a pre-launch PLC number 3, that can diminish the fear. So, you know, again, it's okay to feel that fear. The big thing is what you do with it, that you keep on taking those baby steps and moving forward. Okay, I've hit this with the last 3 weeks, and again, we're going to be opening up registration for PLF Live in January 2015. We'll be releasing the dates. It will be in Scottsdale, Arizona. People come from around the world. We have people from over 40 countries come, from, you know, Australia, New Zealand, Brazil, all over the world. No matter where you are, you should get there, because what we do in PLF Live is we take product launch formula and we go even deeper. So I don't want you holding off and say, I'm going to wait for PLF Live. Just go ahead and do it. But this is not a one-time deal. This is going product launch formula, and what you're learning here, you're going to use it in every area of your business, and you're going to keep on using it. So this will, once you do that first launch, the one thing for sure is it's never going to be your last launch, because it's addictive. And I'm not saying this is going to be your only tool in your toolbox, but this will be a primary tool in your toolbox. So when you get to PLF Live, we just take it deeper. We just go deeper, because there's things you can do in a live event, in a live immersive event, that you can't do with an online training. So remember, PLF Live, you get a free ticket with your registration to Product Launch Formula. The last time I charged, you know, I opened up seats to the general public. I charged $5,000 per seat. You get in. Your registration is basically free. We will be releasing the register, opening it up in January, just a few weeks from now, and it's going to be, you know, yeah, we'll get you registered. We'll give you plenty of time. You'll have plenty of time to plan for it. We don't have dates released yet. We're still locking down a few final little things, and then we're going to open it up. So this is housekeeping ground rules. You know these if you've been with us the last few weeks. This call is about the first 4 modules in PLF. I'm going to be answering questions about the material in those modules. I'm going to be taking questions live during the call. I much prefer unmuting people and speaking to them, because then I can really dig in and find exactly what they're looking for. It's a lot more robust when we do it that way. I might take a few questions from the comments as well, but it's just more fun and it's stronger when we actually have interaction and I can find the nuances of the questions. This call is not for tech support. If you need help with, I don't know, downloading a video or something like that, send an email to support@productlaunchformula.com, and our support superstars will take care of you. As we go through here, you're going to notice that sometimes I get a question. I might take 5 or 10 minutes on a question, because if it's something that I feel like a lot of people need to hear, if there's a serious lesson in there where I can really unwrap it, then I'll go deep on it. The call is going to be recorded and posted in the PLF portal. So if you missed something and it was like really cool, don't type comments in, hey, can you say that again? I missed that, because I want you to be paying attention the first time, and you can always go and listen to the recording. I need you to participate on the call and between the calls. And one of the things I think I forgot to put in here is don't just copy and paste and keep on repeating a question like 30 times. That's just really irritating, because I'm sitting there watching these questions scroll by, and I really don't need to see you repeat something 30 times. It's irritating. So yeah, I mean, if you want to repeat the question every 20 minutes or something, that's okay, but don't just sit there. We all know how to use cut and paste, and just sitting there cutting and pasting and hitting cut and paste over and over and over and over, just a pain in the neck. Okay, so this is how you ask a question. You just there you got it up there. We're going to leave the slide up there so you know how to go ahead and raise your hand and ask a question. So, does that sound good? We ready to get going? You guys all ready? Okay, sweet. Okay, so let me go here and look at all the hands that were raised. And I'm going to go to Gianna. Hey, Gianna.
Hello.
How you doing?
Aloha from Hawaii. Oh, this is
Awesome.
great, Jeff. So what my program is gardening for optimal health. And I do soil analysis, and I want to work with people and have some packages, like maybe starting at $500 and then going on to maybe $1,000, like with more soil analysis and amendments and things like that for the soil.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if the gardening people would pay that kind of money, like $500 to $1,000, to have someone hold their hand and take them through the process, but I think they would.
Yeah, well, certainly that does strike me as sort of high end for that niche, but there will be some people that will pay that. So, and it's interesting because like Susan Garrett, and hers is going to be one of the launches that we profile next week in Module 5. And so Susan is, I featured her in my book, and the reason I keep featuring her is she's just so awesome, and she's been in my Platinum program for now 5 years, so I know her very well. And so she's in the dog agility market, and in a market where, when she started out in that market, everyone else is charging like $27 at the high end, and now Susan, her primary product is at $997, and everyone else is still selling at $27, and some of them have raised up to $47 now. But one of the things that product launches allow you to do is, by giving away so much great free stuff, it's this thing that my friend Evan Pagan calls moving the free line. And the idea is, the more great free stuff you give away, the higher that you can usually charge. And it's an interesting thing. So you doing a product launch is a great way to get premium positioning in your market. And that being said, you might want to start off with some lower end products. And when I say start off, what I mean, when bringing people into your world at a lower end price, and then also have those higher ends. So when Susan started out, she didn't immediately go to 997. She went to 97. Everyone else is doing 27. She went to 97. And then, frankly, it was one of the times when I just challenged her in one of our platinum meetings and said, Susan, you ever thought about going to 987? And now I think that's her primary price point. So you might want to try to ease in with a lower price point and then take people up higher.
Yeah. Well, so I was thinking at least, maybe the 500 level to start, or I didn't know if it was good to have that, like, 2 options on the page where they could either do, like a 6-week program, or they could do like a full-on 12-week program with more testing for their plants and things like that.
Yeah, and part of this we're getting away from, I do want to stick with module 1 through 4. So some of this is really we're getting away from that, and pricing is in the presentation of the price is a whole different can of worms. Usually, people aren't going to pay. The answer to getting higher prices isn't just to give more of this, more content. If you're giving, so in other words, 12 weeks instead of 6 weeks, most people are not going to be willing to pay twice the price for that. They might pay an extra 20% for that, but that's not usually great math when you're putting together an offer. So,
yeah.
and really the $1,000 buyer is different from a $100 buyer or a $500 buyer, and you got to think about where they're at. And certainly, like, if you're starting to put in, is this just a pure information product, or are you actually doing some soil analysis for them?
Oh, I'm actually doing soil analysis, and for the higher price product, I would be doing tissue analysis, and then sending them the amendments and things that they need to put onto their garden and their plants. And
Okay.
Actually, I have a book. I have a PhD in the field,
Yeah.
And it's all about really optimal for improving the quality of the nutrition in that food to the ultimate.
Yeah. Well, so that's huge, and
that's my life work.
Right. And in your market, you're probably selling to some preppers, I imagine.
Well, I've been, for years working with various people locally as a consultant and doing their analysis and all that. Now I just want to take it more on the internet and be able to offer the support and have people do it everywhere.
Yeah. And I'm sure you're going to be able to, I think you're going to be able to get that price. I would consider something at 97 that is where it's just information, and then at $497 where you're starting to do that analysis. I don't like going from basically 500 to 1,000. That I would go from like 500 to I don't know, 697 or something. That it's more like a 20% jump. Yeah, I think I'd probably do that.
Mm-hmm.
The answer is always, with pricing, is always to test. That is always the answer, and it's always uncomfortable for people to test. Basically split test stuff where one person gets the offer at one price, another person gets the offer at the other price, and we all feel squeamish about it, and we all hate to do it because we all think that we're ripping people off then. But that is always the best answer with pricing. But very few people actually do it, including myself.
So is it really worth, like, if you've got a low price product like that, I'm kind of concerned about how much it's going to be costing to get started in the launching, and then how much per month for all this extra stuff that we have to get, like lead pages, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how much that costs. I've been trying to get a handle on it, and leadpages.net was down for the last few days. I couldn't even get in.
Yeah, I think Lead Pages is it's either $20 or $30 a month.
Oh, that's not much.
Yeah, they're for what you get, it's amazingly reasonable, and they got a really attractive year. If you sign up for the year, it's very attractive savings. So yeah, I can't. You're going to have real. So to me, you need an information piece of this business that's just pure information where you're not doing the work, and that's going to be a lower end. And then when you do that, the margin on that's very high. Obviously, once you start doing the work and sending amendments, then your margin starts to drop. And maybe the lower price is not 500. Maybe the lower price is 1,000. Maybe it's 1,015 because And obviously it's going to depend on the size of their operation, you know, in terms of what you're going to be sending them. You know, someone who's running a small farm versus someone who's just got the garden in their backyard. But but you're obviously you're aware of all that, so.
Sure, right. I mean, and that's, yeah, how do you set the package? You know, is it for someone with a small garden of, you know, 1,000 square feet, or, you know, do we make it smaller than that? Yeah, I don't, you know, that's all the questions.
Right, right. Yep.
They have to feel the way. But so, like, to have like lead pages, Aweber, shopping carts, all those different things, which I'm not.
You're really looking at for all of them, depending on what you pick. You're looking between $100 and $200 a month.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, and I had a few people pop up and said $37 a month for lead pages. Aweber is going to start you at $20 a month. I think one shopping cart, I can't remember. You know, it's probably $100 a month. So yeah.
All right.
Okay,
so
Jan,
thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Okay. Aloha.
Bye. Okay, we're gonna go to let's see, to Joe. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Jeff.
How you doing?
Great. I want to ask a question about the triggers. They're all things that I think I've used in the past, but I've never thought them through,
right.
Or a lot of them at least. How do you plan out where you're going to use your triggers in your pre-pre and your pre-launch? Like what you're going to use in each email. Do you plan those out? You know, and say I'm going to use this trigger and this trigger and this trigger in email 1, or does it just kind of happen, or how do you end up using those, I guess?
Yeah, you know, it's funny because these days I can't help myself from using them. They're just so automatic. But generally, I think of it like in terms of your relationship with the person, okay? So did they just opt in? Do they know who you are, or they've been on your list for 6 months? It's radically different, you know, what you want to go with. But generally, you want to open with authority when you're just getting to know someone. And because until they think you're someone who's worth listening to, they're not going to listen to you. So I always go for authority early on. And again, I'm going to tease you on Module 5 next week. One of the people that we profile is Will Hamilton. And he is extraordinary at creating that authority without sort of beating his chest. Because that's one thing you got to worry about when you're doing the authority piece, is that you don't just come off as a braggart, or, you know, it's all about you. You know, it's nice if you can do it with sort of a light touch, where you're just sort of demonstrating the authority. So I always start off with authority. Now, that doesn't mean like I'm going to start every email with authority, but I'm going to start a pre-launch video, the first pre-launch video, with authority. And it could certainly be overdone. I'm thinking of one quote-unquote guru in particular who I think just overdoes it, makes me just want to puke every time I look at one of his videos. You know, it's just like on and on. I'm like so awesome. I've worked with every top person. I've coached every on and on. It's like, give me a break. And I understand why he's doing it, but it's just like, you just look like you're just so full of yourself. And so anyways, I start with authority. And then I'm also, you know, then I'm quickly going to go into reciprocity, where I just start giving great content. And so, you know, just, you know, that's, and really when you give great content, by the way, that's one of the great ways to establish authority. You know, it's like just that if you can be someone who just sits there and teaches and you're giving away this free content, that people will automatically assume that you know what you're talking about when you're teaching them great stuff. And then, and so it's authority, reciprocity, community starts to come into play there. You know, I'm always asking for comments. You get people leaving comments and seeing others leave comments and start answering each other back and forth in those comments. That can build community pretty quickly. You can build a community just by talking about community and talking about your community or the community that you're part of. And then social proof starts to come in. You know, usually that's a little deeper in, like maybe the second piece of pre-launch content that starts to come in. As people start to see all the comments, and you can talk about the comments and talk about all the reaction you're getting. And then as you go even deeper, then you start to hit scarcity. That's sort of towards the end of pre-launch and as you get into launch. And social proof and scarcity are sort of two sides of the same coin. You know, when people see there's massive social proof, then that makes sense that there's scarcity. And when there's scarcity, that just automatically implies social proof. Then another big trigger is, you know, likability. You know, and just being, I'm a big fan of, you know, treating people well, and that makes you likable. And so that's usually all throughout. You know, being super conversational. I think, you know, the world we're in right now, no one wants to hear someone sound like a college professor or like they work for an airline. You know, they want to hear people speaking and writing like, you know, in a conversational style. I think that makes you a lot more influential in general. So those are some of the biggies and sort of the kind of sequence I think about. You know, when you asked specifically about email, for me, like in a launch, the email, especially in pre-launch, is mostly just about getting them to click the link and go watch the videos. Yep. So you know, my emails are usually pretty darn short. I'm usually going for curiosity in there, or just delivering a real hook and telling people exactly what they're going to learn and why they should click through. And then and that really most of the emails in a launch tend to be you know, pretty short and sweet, and either driving them to the pre-launch or driving the sales video. Yeah, and that's yeah. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, and I mean, it's, you know, if you just sit there and start collecting some of the emails I send, even like the emails I send to you as part of this course to try to get you to click through and go, you know, I invite everyone to model what I'm doing, even like on this call. Look at how I start these calls, and you know, the first 10 minutes, you know, I'm just really doing my best to sell you on the continuing consumption of the course. And you know, part of that is because I have this mission to just help entrepreneurs. I mean, that's what drives me. But also, it's great for my business, because the more people stick with it and actually do a launch, the greater, you know, the more evangelists I have out there. And so, you know, I do it both as part of my mission, but also to build the business. So, you know, I invite everyone just to model what I'm doing throughout the entire course. And a big part of this business isn't just making the sale. It's the follow-up, and it's taking care of people. Because I'll tell you what, it's like, you know, in one sense, using all the, you know, I'm showing you all these, basically a lot of copywriting techniques and influence techniques and persuasion techniques and how to orchestrate them in the context of a launch. But you can have the world's greatest copywriting, but if, you know, if you have a bunch of bad reviews somewhere, that's going to trump whatever copywriting you can have. So, you know, it's a little bit off tangent, but I just want to encourage people, when I talk about over-delivering throughout the course, that's, you know, not just a nice thing to do, but that's the way you get ahead in this business. That's the way you survive long term. So, yeah, there you go.
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we are going to go to, let's see, is it Kasia? Kasaya? Yeah, Kasaya, probably. Hello.
Kisha? It's Kisha?
Keisha, got it.
Kisha.
Kisha.
Thank you. Thank you so much for taking my question, Jeff. For you, I've been trying to actually ask this for quite some time. I launched a membership site the beginning of this year. I help people self-publish. I coach you through the process. And my signature theme that I had going on was that it was a 6-week publishing course, because I literally did my book in 6 weeks, a very attractive quality book, and sold quite a few copies to be a self-publisher. Again, to be a self-publisher with my audience, I'm no grand person out here that everybody knows. So, yeah, but my issue.
Congratulations! It took me like 3 years to write mine.
Yeah, it was just like, you know, it was under 200 pages. It wasn't a real thick book. And by the way, your book was my first introduction to you, and I absolutely loved it. So now my question is so the dilemma is obviously the reason why I have PLF is because the marketing piece for my membership course was not very good at all. And needless to say, when I launched it, it was not a very happy launch for me because I did not get the membership like I wanted. And so on my site, one of the things that I did is I discounted the cost of the publishing course, but only for the first 100 people. And obviously, I have not gotten to the first 100 people yet, and it's been well into the year now. And so I did not know how to really represent that. I was going to go back up on the cost. Obviously, when I got to 100 people, I was going to add more value and be able to put it at the rate that I wanted it. And so I did know, you know, I was trying to kind of do it maybe as an evergreen. I'm learning all this stuff, so I got so many things going on. And so another thing is I was wondering if I should just concentrate. I thought the niche would be for people who wanted to publish their book in 6 weeks or less. But I also have a pretty good niche with pastors where I have an audience, and I've helped pastors in the past, and so I thought about maybe targeting to them. But I'm just kind of all over the place with how to really hone on in this and make the marketing piece work.
Yep. Okay. So, and so your specific question is what? Is it about the initial discount and how to handle that and what's your pricing?
Because obviously I did not get the first 100 people, and it's been quite some time now, so I don't know how to relaunch, redo, you know, what's the best thing to still make it the integrity to stay there.
Yep. Okay. So first of all, twice you used the word obviously I didn't get there, but it's only obvious to you. It's not obvious to anyone else in the world. So that's one thing to remember. You know, the thing to remember is just like there's social proof is a great trigger. There's this thing that I call reverse social proof, and that's like, you know, that's the opposite. If it's just there's cobwebs and nothing happening, and you know, it's like driving by a restaurant and there's not ever a single car in front of it. It's like, oh, I'm not going to eat there. So you definitely have to be cognizant of reverse social proof, which I think you are cognizant of it, frankly, by your question. You know, it's sort of the offer's sitting out there, and you know, you said for the first 100. Now the worry is like, are people seeing that, and then we're still selling it, and they either think I'm being dishonest or I'm not selling it. You know, I'm not being very successful. So first of all, tell me about your list.
Oh, when I first launched it, it was maybe 80 people.
Okay. Okay, and what's it at now?
A little under 500.
That's awesome. That is awesome. When did you launch it?
I want to say, I know the bill just came through Vimeo for the membership site today, but it took a while to actually launch it. I want to say maybe, January or February or so. I apologize. It's been.
No, that's okay. That's good enough. So you launched it in let's just say February. Now we are 10 minutes later. You've added 400 people to your list approximately. Now, when all those new people came on the list, after that first 80, or let's just say that you had 100, just to keep the math easy. Let's say you had 100, you got 500 now. Now, those extra 400 people, did they ever see did they see the offer? Do they know this thing's out there?
Some of them have, because I would do I've taken all these like marketing things online with all these folks, you know, that you know, and so I did like a mini publishing series via email, and I did like an autoresponder, and I would give them all this value and then try to direct them to the site.
Okay. So this is what I think you should do. And so this is, in some ways, this is a little beyond the first 4 modules, but I think we can go a little deeper here because I think this is going to help a lot of people that are listening. So what I would do is I would immediately raise the price right now to whatever the planned full price is or was. So I'd raise that price. Then I would continue to go through PLF. Module 4, Module 5 will nail the internal launch for you. So you'll have that. You'll just put together a great launch based on everything you've learned and everything you're going to get through Module 5. Put together a nice launch and think about like this is your first real launch. And then when you launch it, maybe it'll be January, or maybe it'll be February. Who knows? But when you launch it, then you can drop it back down to the price, to the intro price that you came out with, and it'll be now you've got your launch special in place. And also you're going to add, I would add some material to the course. Doesn't have to be a huge amount. It could be just like an interview here or there. Put on a few intro videos, like I've got intro videos in PLF. Maybe add some transcript. Do something that's not like you're remaking the course, but just you're making it a little more robust. And your launch story is basically, well, it could be, it could be, if you did it in February, it could be the 1-year anniversary. It's like we're relaunching it, and it's sort of like almost like a throwback Tuesday. It's throwback February. We're going to, for this next week, you can get in at the charter member price we offered last year, but you got to act this week. And oh, by the way, it's a new and improved version.
Okay. Do you think I should ever make it? Well, I know that Tara mentioned it in her in lesson 3, so that's why I thought maybe it fit here. The evergreen launch, and then I was going to ask you about payment plan because I didn't have that at first, and I don't know why I didn't have that at first. A payment plan. I don't know if those are all things to just really help with it.
Yeah, I mean, well, what's your price right now?
It's $247, but the price, that original price that I wanted at, the value that I believe it's at is $397.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you did like a 3 payment, so if you made your launch special $247 with a three payments of $97 a month for 3 months, I think you get higher conversions. And then at $347, frankly, I don't love that price. I think once you go above 300, you go straight to 400. I think so. In other words, once you go above 300, you will have some drop off, but then you won't get the next sort of stair-step drop off until you go above 400, in my opinion. I haven't, that's just based on a lot of stuff I've seen over the years. Might not be perfect for you, but that's my guess. But yeah, if you went $397 and then 5 payments of $97 or something like that. Yeah, I think multi-pays are a pain in the neck. People that you usually have a higher refund rate from people that purchase via multi-pay, and you have people dropping off and not making payments. But so it does increase the hassle factor somewhat, but you will make more sales.
Okay, so you're saying to raise the price now, not that anybody really would see it. I guess
right.
that means I need to stop my autoresponders and then do an introductory offer for a limited time and do a relaunch.
Yep.
And then after that, close it, no evergreen.
Well, what I would do is, you could have it be evergreen, but evergreen based on, I want you to put together a full launch sequence with launch videos, and then, or 3 pieces of pre-launch content, and then you would use those in evergreen going forward. But when I close it down, I would leave that. I would keep it closed for at least a month or so before you went to evergreen.
Okay. Well.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, we're going to go to Laura. Hey, Laura.
Hello, Jeff.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. I have a couple of questions for you. One of them is on the Money Seed launch.
Uh-huh.
I have a relationship with and access to a lot of top leaders already in my area.
Yep.
Because I was involved, I was directly under one of the top leaders, and I've kind of pulled out and I'm doing my own thing now.
Yep.
And so when I heard about that idea, it just really excited me. So my question about that is, I wasn't sure, you talked about how as you go to each expert, that you're adding, it kind of snowballs as you go.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, are you doing that as like a full package, or is that, do you charge per each expert that you talk to?
I would charge as the full package.
Okay.
Because then if you're just charging per expert, then so there's a lot of questions in the portal about this. It's like, why would people come on my, and I know you weren't necessarily asking these, but there were a lot of questions like, why would people come on and do an interview with me? Do I have to pay them for the interview? Lots of questions along those lines. And, and I answer those in the portal, and generally it's not as hard as you would think to get people on. You do not have to pay them, or you certainly don't have to give them a percentage of sales. And if you do need to pay them, it's usually easier to pay their hourly rate. And I mean, if you're trying to get, Donald Trump or Warren Buffett on, it could be hard, but generally it's not that hard to get on. And I understand that, with Laura, that you've already got the connection, so you're not worried about that. I just wanted to throw that stuff in there for the people that were worried about that. But what I would say is, if we're going to charge for each call, say you have, Fred Flintstone as your first guest, and you're going to charge just for that call, then I could see them saying, well, you're charging for this, I should get a cut. But if Fred Flintstone is in there along with, Mickey Mouse and 10 other people, then, they're just one of the people, and you're going to let them talk about their website and stuff like that. So then you don't have to worry about compensating. So I would sell it as a complete package.
Okay, that makes sense. So do you find that when you do that some people will just jump on some of the web calls and not join others just because they're interested in certain people? But at that point, it doesn't matter because they've already paid for the whole package, right?
Right.
Okay. And then I have one other quick question, if you don't mind.
Yep.
I kind of have like the last caller, I'm in a couple different areas, and so I'm ready to make a squeeze page with an opt-in bribe, but I'm still working on the process of having the value for the content pages and working toward the project. So how often do I stay in contact with people as they come on my list so that they don't get cold while I'm working on things?
Okay, so could you just repeat that real quick? I just lost you a little bit.
Okay. If I'm getting ready to make my squeeze page, but I obviously so I don't have the product. I'm working towards that, and I'm also working still on having value for content pages, and as I'm working toward the product. So my question is, how often do you recommend in that process that you stay in contact with people who are joining your list so that they don't get cold while I'm working on the end product?
Right. So what I would do is I would write an initial series of emails, and this is something I cover in the Launching Your List, which is in the bonuses, and you can go check it out there. But I would write, say, 5 or 6 messages that they're going to get as an autoresponder that come in fairly quickly. So they get one immediately, they get one the next day, they get one the next day, they get one like 3 days later, then they get one like 4 days later, and then maybe another 3 or 4 days later. So maybe like 6 emails right away that sort of builds relationship with them, tells them what you're all about, can even tell them what you're working on. And then what you do is you've built this core relationship with them, and then you can follow up more sporadically. And I mean, ideally, in an ideal world, it'd be weekly. But I'm sure all of us, we got a lot of stuff to do, and if you're in the middle of product creation and creating your launch, maybe you let it slip and it's every couple of weeks. But once you've built up that core relationship with them, then you can keep. It's a lot less maintenance is needed to maintain that
Okay.
relationship.
Okay. Yeah, I watched that bonus list launching thing, waiting for Module 1 to come on, so I guess I should go back and refresh myself now that I know a little bit more of what's going on, huh?
Yeah, it's the part. It's what I call the blended sequence, and it's real effective. Once you build that core relationship, boom, it's really strong.
Okay.
So,
All right. Well, I have more questions, but I'll let it go on to someone else, and maybe I'll get in on another call later down the road.
Thanks, Laura.
Thanks. Bye.
Cool. Bye. Okay, we're going to go to Elliot.
Hi, Jeff.
Elliot.
How are you? Thanks for taking
Good.
the
How
call.
are you?
Great.
You're welcome.
Question about the seed launch. What I was curious about, I don't have a list, and I plan on using YouTube as the way to generate the list for me, and I'm a little unclear as to what type of incentive you need to get people to give you their email address at that early stage.
So, right. I mean, it's just you got to give them, something that they perceive as being cool that they would want. I mean, like whatever your target market wants. Like what's like a hot button for them? What's one of the something that they're all interested in? Like I mean, if it's guitar, a lot of people want to know, what guitar to buy, or it could be the basic chords. So I mean, if you look at, my opt-in for Product Launch Formula is I forget exactly how it goes, but it's something along the lines of, do you want to know the secrets of the best launches? And I don't even tell people whether it's going to be a video or a PDF or what. You just you identify whatever market you're in, what's the hot button, what's something that people are really interested in that they're going to bite, what's going to hook them. Because, I mean, you're not asking for a massive commitment. You're just asking for them to give up their email address so you can send them something.
Right. But you have to give them something.
Yeah. So what's your market?
I'm looking at the wellness in a smaller niche of the wellness market, sort of fitness and weight loss combined.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, so what are people, in that, because, yeah, you're going to have to definitely go into a sub-niche there. So, in your sub-niche, what are people really, really worried about? What do they really care about? And, and it could be, the quickest way to safely lose weight, or have more energy, and or recipes, or, a detox plan. And so, here's your 5-day detox plan to lose weight and gain more energy, and boom. It's that simple. And the other thing is it doesn't have to be amazing. Like, you're not given a 75-page ebook or something. You're given something short and easily consumable. And so you can actually try a few different things and just test and see which converts the best.
Okay, that's a good idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And see what you get the strongest response for.
Yeah. It's not like you're married to this forever,
Right. Well, I don't have the product developed yet, so it's the idea is to try and develop it through the seed launch.
Yep.
But you spent a fair amount of time trying to identify the niche, and I think it's there.
Yep.
I want to give it a try. As I said, I have absolutely no list, within that. But
yeah, I mean,
super.
you could even test, like, I mean, depending on how you felt about your capability of creating something, you could even like come up with 3 or 4 or 5 different ideas, put up squeeze pages for each one of them, go to Facebook, spend some money to run some traffic into it so you can get a big burst of traffic, see which one converts the best, and then create it.
So pay for AdWords on Facebook? Is that what you're...
Yeah, well, what I'm saying, if you're going to do something like this, if you were going to split test it before you created it, you would want to run a bunch of traffic so you could get a decision quickly, because you're going to have to create it and fulfill it. So the quickest way to get traffic is always to buy it. So I'm not saying you should go buy traffic, but if you wanted to do something, I mean, this is like a super advanced trick, is to actually test it first and then create it after you get the results. But if you're going to do that, you don't want to have like just a couple people trickling in for 3 months while you get your results because some people are waiting. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay. Very good. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Okay, yeah, I slipped in a super advanced ninja marketer trick there for you guys. Don't want to get too advanced on you. I'm not saying you have to go out and start spending money on advertising. I'm just saying that advertising is the quickest way to drive a bunch of traffic, and these days Facebook is the name of the game for many niches. And yeah, the super advanced ninja trick is you could conceivably test different offers on your squeeze page before you actually create the actual bribe that you're going to give them, as long as you can do it in a very quick manner, that you have the confidence and the capability to whatever you promise, that you're going to be able to basically make good on the promise. And then, of course, your email would, when someone opts in, you'd have it'd be a little awkward saying, hey, I'll get that to you. I'm just putting the finishing touches on it. I'll get it to you in a couple of days. Not ideal at all to do it that way, but you could. I'm just suggesting that you could. Make sense? There's a question came in from Kahuna on that last idea. How much traffic should you have to know your test is valid? And actually, I took a couple stats classes back in college, and they actually were some of the most, frankly, most important classes I ever took. A basic understanding of statistics is really a great thing to have, but I know probably 90% of the folks on the call don't have that because most people find statistics boring. The real answer to how much traffic do you need, it's not how much traffic you need, it's how many actual actions, conversions do you need. And there's different places. You can actually look it up. If you just Googled split test, split test is what they call this when you test two different things, A, B, or A, B, C, D. If you just Google split test, or split test calculator, there's some free calculators out there where you can just put in your numbers. If you don't want to do that, the most absolute basic test is if you get, say, like 50 actions, then you probably are starting to get in the neighborhood of having a valid test result. But it's better to actually use one of those statistics calculators. And no statistics are ever perfect. But the thing is if you put up 5 and you see that 2 are really strong and 3 of them are really, really weak, you probably make up that decision pretty quickly and get in the right world of, or start to get close, basically. I'm just going to take a look here. Here's a question, again on this from Karen. If we were testing with different squeeze pages as you suggested, we would need a complete website at that point. No, I mean, you just need a different page. If you're going to test 2 different pages, you just need 2 different squeeze pages and probably go into the same thank you page. Maybe so you would need 2 squeeze pages and a thank you page. You could do all that through either a WordPress site or through lead pages without any problem. Okay, so going to go to the next question. Here we go. We've been going a little deeper on some of these. How's that been working for you guys? Cool. It looks like you folks are liking going deeper. That's good. It's always more fun. Okay, we're going to go to Lisa. Hey, Lisa.
Hey, Jeff, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hey. I've had PLF for about a year. Was at PLF Live, which was awesome. I thought that was just the most amazing experience. I met so many really great people and have friends, made new friends, and got my own little, I guess, mastermind going on. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Well, so Lisa, I'm always just flogging PLF Live and trying to get as many people to come as possible. So if someone's out there saying, what are you talking about? Why would I get on a plane and travel to to see 3 days of PLF? Like, what would you say to them?
Great question. Two things. Number one, as I just mentioned, you meet people who can help you, and they give you, feedback, and they've been through your material, so they're thinking this, they understand what you should be doing. And I also found that your group of people that come, they're people who've been out there in the business world. They're not super newbies, but some of them are, but it's nice to have that expertise, and some of them are new, but some of them are actually, like I said, more expert, and that's a really great resource. And you continue to, I have people who are some in your plat group are my friends, and I have some who are newbies, and it's great. The other thing that I thought was super useful was the exercises you went through, and trying to think about your avatar and put yourself in your customer's shoes, and the way to do that. That got me so much material for putting in my my launch content, and it's persuasive. It's super persuasive. In fact, I used it in some of the talks that I did, and I'm starting to get more people. Hey, I got somebody who said to me, she was somebody that I wasn't really quite excited about having in my class, because she sort of seemed like she was like hesitant and all that, and I said, well, look, if it's not for you, I don't want to push you. But she said, oh, but I really want to get your stuff because of how you convinced me, kind of thing. And it's like, wow, that works, So,
cool.
So those two.
Yeah, the exercises are pretty awesome. Like, love doing those and seeing people go through them. And I think one of the things that sets PLF Live apart, you touched on, is that there is a whole spectrum. So there's a 20% of the room is newbie, but we also have just absolute rock stars, people who have done huge launch after launch after launch, and I'm just blessed that somehow I'm able to attract these people to keep on coming back, and so many of them are so helpful with
yeah. Well, you're great, Jeff. You're
Thank
so
you.
listen, I had a couple of quick questions for you. I don't think they're really too long for you to answer.
Okay.
The first question I had was the video controls for your PLC videos. I know there's a philosophy on the sales video to just, you have the play and pause, forces them to go through the whole thing. What about your, the PLC 1, 2, and 3? Do you give them control over, running through it, or is it just play and pause?
This is one where people have go in different directions, and frankly, it's really hard to test. I mean, it's like there's so many different things going on during your launch. How can you tell whether player controls in PLC 1 ended up making an impact down, 10 days later when you open cart?
Right.
And frankly, I think this last launch we didn't have them, but I tend to like having them on the PLC.
On the controls, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and in fact, we sort of screwed up this last launch because even the pause control wasn't obvious, because you had to click on the video and it would pause it, but people didn't realize that. And that was something that, frankly, I look back at our launch, I'm like, yeah, I wish we'd done that differently. Because after every launch, we have an exercise. We do a worked well, do differently. And, what worked well and what should we do differently? And for everyone out there listening, I think take those words and try them out. Because a lot of times, like when you get a team and you start to deconstruct stuff or do a debrief after the fact, it's easy for people to get defensive about stuff when you have a team interacting. But if you use that idea, it's like we're not here to beat people up or replace blame. We're just looking at what we can do differently, what worked well, and what to do differently, and do them in that order. It's always better to start off with the good stuff.
Right, the good stuff, sure.
So, and then here's a little subtlety. So we're going to go a little bit deep for some people, but I know you guys can stick with me because we're on call 4 now. For the sales video, you basically want play and pause on that. And you want to delay the order button so it pops up. It doesn't pop up until you actually reveal what the offer is, what you tell people what they get and what the price is and what the guarantee is. So you don't want to pop up that order button until then, because otherwise they'll click through the order button, they'll just go look at what it costs, and then they'll make a decision before they have the information they need to make the decision. So this has been tested over and over and over and over, and delaying that that order button always wins by a significant factor. You know, it will irritate people. They'll be like, I just don't, just give me the, you know, just tell me what it costs. I don't want to watch this whole video. And some people will tell you that, and I don't care when the people tell you that. It will hurt your response if you put that button up right from the start. That being said, in the last 48 hours, and this, so we're going a little deeper here, the last 48 hours of the launch, you change that so the button does pop up early, you know, maybe 15 or 20 seconds in. Because the idea is that, especially in an internal launch, they've probably already seen your video once, and now they're coming back to buy.
Right, right.
And so, yeah. Now the messy thing is, and at that point, if you are going to give them, and so this gets really sort of deep. If you're going to give them control over the scroll button, then you have to basically pop the order button right away, because the order that delayed pop on the order button is based on how long they've been on the page. It's not triggered by the video. So if they've been on the page for, you know, if you have a 20-minute video and it's you schedule it to pop at 18 minutes, and they take that scroll bar and they scroll ahead to the end,
right,
then it's still not going to pop for them for 18 minutes. So
okay.
You get that one? So,
yeah, I got it.
So basically at the 48-hour mark, we start to give them control. We pop it early at maybe 15 seconds, or 15, 20 seconds, just so the video actually starts before it pops. And then at that point, we usually give them the ability to scroll
right.
in that last 48 hours. And that's where I'll typically these days do a 5-day open cart. I suggest, you know, as we get deeper in PLF, you'll see I like 5 to 7 days. And so in a 5-day launch, the last 48 hours is when we'll make those changes on the page. And I know a lot of you are listening. You're like, I don't know how to do that delayed pop stuff, and I don't even know what you're talking about. Just stick with me. You know, this is something that if you do everything else, you don't pop the button, that's fine. You'll be just fine. But you know, if you go to like lead pages, it's all built in, that delayed pop. So
great. Yeah, I thought that was going to be a short answer, but it turned out to be a great answer. A little deeper. I had one question about the list building thing.
Yep.
What you describe is you'll create I guess the list when you're going through your PLC sequence, or you have somebody opt in to go through the PLC sequence. But that's separate from your main list, right?
Right.
They're separate.
Right.
Do you ever merge those later, or what do you do with that list for PLC?
Yeah, well, so there's 1,000 different ways to organize this, and none of there. And even though as a teacher I'm supposed to tell you this is the right way, because people love just to being told the one way, the reality is there's multiple ways to make it work. And so, like, what I do is, like, I'm building my list all year long, okay? And then when I come to my launch, then I'll start a new launch list, and I'll mail all my old lists and say, go watch this video, it's awesome. And then they're going to opt in, and then they're going to be on my new launch list. And I'm also going to have all my partners mailing, and all those people end up on that new launch list as well. And then when I go forward, I just, that launch list is now my main list, my main prospect list going forward. And I'll continue to use that going forward. I'll still mail the old lists, but I'll basically scrape one against the other so people aren't getting multiple emails. And that's
so you merge them, right? Is what you're saying?
Well, I'm sorry. Was that?
Do you merge them then? So
not technically. Different email lists or hosts have different terminology. In Aweber, we're not merging them. We're using includes and excludes. So I mean, let's just say I have 100,000 people on my old list.
Yeah.
And now I do a launch, and I get 15,000 of them to move over to my new list. Okay. And then I get all my partners to mail, and now they've all mailed, and now I've got 50,000 on this new list, of which 15 are also on my old list.
Mm-hmm.
Well, those 15, In other words, there's 85,000 on my old list that are not on the new list.
Yeah.
Well, I'll continue to mail that old list. I'll make sure I'll go in, I'll do an exclude so that I know that people that are on both lists don't get 2 emails.
Right.
And the other thing is like the 15,000 on the new list are going to be more powerful than the 85,000 on the old list, because those are just, those are the people that opened my email, clicked through, opted in, and got engaged. And so that's just how email lists work. Now, if you are doing a purely internal launch, say you've got you've been teaching people about how to play guitar, and now you're going to do a video on training your ear for ear training, so that you can recognize notes. So it's in the same vicinity, but it's not guitar playing. Okay, so your list is going to be, some of them are going to be receptive, so it makes sense to mail your list. So you go ahead and you email that list, and now you've got them on an ear training list. Now going forward, I'm going to treat those 2 lists differently. I've got my ear training list, and I got my guitar list.
Right.
So
yeah, because they have separate interests.
Yep. Yeah.
Right. Great.
Yeah.
Well,
and there's a lot more subtleties. You can go real deep on this.
No, that was good. I didn't want to go too crazy on it. I just wanted to get an idea of what you did.
Yeah.
I just have one more question about the seed launch.
Yep.
How many PLC videos do you do for a seed launch?
Typically 1, and then basically 1 pre-launch and then a sales video.
Got it.
If you want to go crazy, you could do more, but usually it's just 1 and done.
Yeah. Makes sense, because it's you're doing a seed launch, so you don't have a whole lot there anyway, right?
Right, and it's usually your hyper-responsive people are going to take advantage of it, and so they don't need that much.
Great, awesome. Thank you. You answered all my questions. You're awesome.
You're welcome.
All right, we'll see you at the PLF Live next year.
Sounds good, Lisa.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay, so I saw one follow-up question I wanted to get. I'm going to go over here. Give me a second to track this down. Okay, I missed it. I can't find it again. There was one follow-up question that I wanted to hit. Yeah, a few questions from people about delaying the order button. You can do that within lead pages. So if you're using lead pages, most software that allows you to build pages, like sales pages, will let you do that now. Here's a question related to when I was building the list. How are you keeping your list warm all year long? Well, I'm publishing weekly on my blog, so I publish a weekly blog video. I'm doing that for a couple of years now, and that's done a really great job of keeping my list warm in between when people opt in and when we do our launch. Okay, yeah, I was just looking there was one follow-up I saw coming through, but I don't see it. Okay. I'm going to go back to the questions. We're going to go to Melissa.
Oh,
hey, Melissa.
wonderful. Hi, thank you so much for taking my question.
You're welcome.
I am building a list. I've started a couple of months ago and watched the bonus information on launching your list. And my question is, how often can you get away with text emails instead of emails that have video in them? I understand pre-launch needs to have video, but in building your relationship, do you ever use a non-video containing email?
All the time. Absolutely. Yeah, well, part of it depends on your market, but let's see, I've been in this business for 20 years, and 2 years ago, about 2 years ago, I started publishing a weekly video on my blog. Before that, I didn't. So I went about 18 years without ever sending people the videos. So yeah, it's just no problem. And if you look at my emails, they are all just plain text. So yeah, you don't need to do videos. It's just, and in fact, I think I'm probably a better writer than I am on video. But for some reason, people find me really relatable when they see me on video. So that's an asset that I have, a skill that I have, so that's why I do it. And frankly, it's just a lot easier for me to shoot a 5-minute video than for me to put together a really great blog post that I write. That'll take me a half a day or a day, and I can, once I get a topic, I can shoot a video pretty quick. So I do that more as a time saving, and just because for whatever reason people relate to me on video pretty well, and so that's why I do it. But you can absolutely not, just use plain text, no problem.
Okay, I feel like I always get videos from you, Jeff.
Yeah, well, like I said, we do one every week, but
okay.
That's a relatively new thing.
All right. Well, maybe if I join that old list of yours from 6 and 7, I'll get some of your text emails. And
yeah, you would. You'd get about 9 or 10 of them, and then they would peter off. And actually, we still send the blog videos to that list as well, too, now.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, now we're going to go to Bill. Hey, Bill.
Hello.
How you doing?
Pretty good, Jeff. First thing I want to do is I want to thank you for some inspiration. I've been doing videos, and somehow I always think that I have to wear, fancy stuff and a tux and stuff like that. And I started watching your videos, and I thought, a T-shirt's just all right. You don't have to get all fancied up,
Yeah, my problem is I have to keep on buying new T-shirts, though.
No, I just keep wearing the old ones. Nobody remembers.
I should do that. I tell you what, since I started shooting video 2 years ago, I'm buying more clothes than I ever have in my life.
And just the question I have, and it goes right back to just what you were talking about, videos. I'm a terrible writer, so I don't do almost any writing at all. Okay. I do a lot of videos, a lot of audios, and I'm getting involved in looking at Hangouts on air broadcasting. In fact, today, I haven't even been able to watch it, but I did a 1-hour Hangouts on air broadcast today. And of course, the first thing I said on there was that I'm a rookie, so this is the first time I'm doing it. Don't beat me up, So right. I was wondering if people are using, and the product I'm going to be making, and probably multiple products. One is a documentary, also doing some webinars. Involved, my audience is probably veterans and people like that, people in the spiritual area. I'm a human rights advocate fighting religious persecution. So that's a big market. And I'm looking into doing Hangouts on air, and I'm wondering if people are that you're involved with the launch process, using that in the launch process, making the product. It's not one way to interview people. You can get as many as 10 people on Hangouts on air, and I was wondering if there are people into that right now with your audience.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly, I've met at least one person who's doing really well doing Hangouts like that, and I think it's a great tool. It's an evolving tool that keeps getting better. We used, a big Hangout for during our Open Cart Week, and that felt pretty darn successful when we did that. So yeah, I absolutely think it's a viable tool.
Okay, great. Great. Is there a downside? That would be the only thing that I
yeah, no. Other than the tech, getting wonky at times, which I know has happened, but frankly, it happens with every tool. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Very good. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And I guess I got to go out and buy a bunch of T-shirts.
Yeah. Okay, thanks, Bill.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go to Al here. Al, you're live.
Jeff, yeah, thanks for taking the call.
You're welcome.
I want to, if I can digress a little bit. I'm a professional photographer, and of course, it seemed like a great niche to be in, you know, to do my product. And you know, I got thinking about it. I have a lot of hobbies. One of them is health and disease prevention, and you know, I make my own. You know, I do my own organic, grow my own organic food. I just do a lot of things and make my own shampoo and supplements and deodorant and all this stuff. And it's just a hobby. And I'm thinking, you know, maybe that's what I should do more, because it would be more lucrative than trying to teach people how to do photography. I'm a portrait artist, so it's quite involved. That's my specialty. I'm not sure I want to maybe teach people how to do professional work, you know, and I'm just kind of like teetering, you know, between those two fields. And I think I could help more people by going with the health thing. Not that there's not enough people involved in that already, but it's just a very strong interest of mine. And so I've really kind of got a combination of these two things going right now, and just needed a little guidance, you know, to say, you know, maybe you ought to try this or you ought to try that.
Okay. Well,
oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you know, first of all, both those markets are viable. You know, I certainly know people that are doing well with photography, teaching photography. You could also teach how to make a living as a portrait photographer, or make a living as a pro photographer. Probably make a living as a portrait photographer would probably be that'd probably be a strong one. So, you know, there's the doing of it, and then there's the making money with it. So there's two potentials. Again, I don't know I haven't seen specifically the portrait market, but I do know people are doing well in just the general how to do photography market. And we also have, you know, there's people doing really, as you said, really well in the whole growing food. You know, we have a PLF owner he's actually selling physical, he's getting a deodorant made and selling it on Amazon. All those markets are absolutely viable. So
you see, I think that's what, Jeff, I think that's what I'd like to do. I'd like to sell some of my products.
It works. It's working.
But you know how I know that's a lot different than what you're teaching us, right? Is there
yeah, I mean, you're going to basically
maybe for that, or to how to do that?
Yeah, actually, we're probably going to be adding. We did a recording. I did a recording with two PLF owners doing this, and we're considering releasing that recording as an extra bonus for PLF, and it was specifically about this, about selling physical product, and doing launches for physical product on Amazon. I haven't heard, you know, the video, the audio got a little wonky, so I got to make sure it's good enough. But PLF, you know, I don't spend a lot of time in PLF teaching about physical products. So, but everything that you learn in there does, I mean, you can take it and adapt it to physical products. People have been using PLF for physical products since I started back in 2005. You know, the cost structure changes things up a little bit in terms of what you can do, usually in terms of offers and stuff. But it absolutely works. But you will have to take it and tweak it a little bit. But you know, all those mental triggers, the idea of turning your marketing into an event, the idea of making that initial launch, you know, a special time that captures people's imagination and attention, all that stuff 100% works for physical products.
Would you do one product each launch, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every time I brought out a product, I would launch it to some extent.
Let's say one was a shampoo, for example. Would you not do the shampoo plus the deodorant plus something else, or would you just kind of keep each product separate?
Well, I would do each individual product, and then I would also do bundles after they're released. That's how you come back and, okay, so now I've got 4 products on the market, but I don't plan on doing anything for the next year. What do I do? Well, then you start creating bundles, and you do launches for the bundles.
Yeah. Real quick, last question. I can adapt any of these products toward pets as well. And, you know, considering setting up a special website, should I just have like one website selling all these products, or should I just have a pet section, or should I just do a separate website just on pets?
Yeah, I mean, I would have products on the same site to the extent that, they're in the same market. Bill, did we lose you? Or Al, did we lose you there?
I'm still here. I thought you were finishing up.
Yeah. No.
When you say the same market meaning the same type of products, or
the same niche. Yeah, the same niche.
Okay.
Yeah.
So could have one website and just have it, for both people and pets, for example.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, Jeff. Well, thanks a lot. And would you go more with for positioning? Would you start out more with a higher price product, or a lower price product?
That's really impossible to say. When you're talking about specific, when you're talking physical products without knowing more. So,
okay, Jeff. Thanks a lot. It's been great.
Okay.
Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Okay, I'm going to just take a quick look over here at some of the questions getting typed in. Okay. Let's see. Are we doing a time? Oh, time is, oops, I didn't realize how late we'd gotten. I think we are at time here. Double check. Yeah, we just have time basically for one more question. So I'm going to go back, take one more live question. And we're going to go to, let's see, we'll go to Elaine. I think, yeah. Hey, Elaine.
Hey, Jeff, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank you. And thank you very much for taking the call. Okay, so I've also done Lisa Sasovich's call on teleseminars and webinars. That's how I intend to deliver my products, along with how you're teaching us. So my question is, how do I encompass the lead up to the teleseminar with the product launch formula?
That's an interesting question because, Lisa's actually a very good friend of mine. Very, very good friend. And I've always watched how and she gets great results. And I've never been quite able to reconcile how she does her launches. Because what she'll do is she'll do a couple of videos and drive people, into the teleseminar. And then she'll do a teleseminar. So basically what she does is, and we've actually traded coaching days and helped each other out. And so, she's been through my formula. I've taught it to her. And so she'll sort of follow my formula, PLF, right up until do 2 videos. But instead of doing a third video, she's getting people to register for the teleseminar, and that's basically her third piece of content. And, it seems to be working for her. I like following my formula better. I like to, basically, if you're going to use a teleseminar, using it as part of your open cart week and not using it as like the thing that opens up the cart, which is what Lisa does. But, there is more than one way to skin a cat, and she's certainly had great success. So I don't know if that helped you at all. Personally, I like to use my formula that goes 3 videos, takes you into the open cart, and then like on day, say 3 or 4, then do a teleseminar or a webinar, and then go for the standard close. That's the way I like to do it.
Okay, that's awesome. Thanks very much.
You're welcome. Okay, so that's a quick question. Maybe we'll take one more in here. Let's see. We'll go with Jenny. Hey, Jenny.
Me? Is it me?
Yes, you.
Oh, yay! I'm so excited. I was praying that you would pick me.
Wow, your prayers have been answered.
Yay! And I'm all nervous talking to you because I have wanted to talk to you for so long. But I'll be fast because I know we're trying to get done. We have a membership site, and we're working on our launch. But of course, we have a lot to learn, and I haven't got a chance to look over the new modules that just got released. But So in the meantime, we've got to generate income, and so we're working on doing a hybrid quick launch, kind of a seed launch, even though our membership site is done, but we could add more. And I have a list that I've been building for about 5 years, and it's got probably altogether, I probably have about 7,500 people, but it is really cold. It is a very cold list. I don't get good responses, and we've been growing, so we thought this might be a good way to kind of warm up the list again too.
Right.
And
yeah, I like it.
You like? Is that a good idea?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, certainly in Module 1 there was the video I did about warming a cold list, but I think if you took people, I mean, maybe if you even did like sort of like the seed launch, but you did a mini version of it where you did like 2 or 3 calls, and maybe you didn't even, and they were just pure content, and people didn't have to buy. That'd be a great way to warm people up. And then you had that lead into your launch. That could be a big long-term win.
So kind of be working on this now, and then as we are able to, and we tried to shoot some videos. I'm so glad I've been in video production for a long time, but I shoot horse training videos, and it's a lot different market than this. And actually, I've admired so much the Susan's videos. Their production they're so good. Their production.
Well, her last set were amazing.
I don't even have dogs, and I want a dog agility dog. That's how good she did with that. But I guess my question would be, are the biggest things we should be, when you're writing your copy for doing the launches, I noticed that you write at the top of the page, you were writing different triggers that you were aiming for.
Yeah.
Is that how, so as I'm trying to write copy for putting it together like a quick launch for this, do I decide what triggers I'm trying to hit in the, like, do you think it's okay to just have text emails? Do I need to have little short videos? Like, what would be the best to...
Yeah, well, I mean, text is absolutely fine. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially if you're going to take people to like a little series of calls, text is absolutely fine, 100%. Yeah.
Okay. So then we can drive them to them and have it like maybe be low priced, and then in the meantime we'll be building our bigger launch.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
Maybe in January. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Okay, let me see how we're doing on time. Oh, it's 3:30 exactly, or at least for me. 90 minutes exactly. Let's go one more question, one more bonus question, and we're going to go to Matthew. Matthew, are you there? Matthew, going once, going twice, going 3 times. Okay, and now we're going to go to Adam. Hey, Adam.
Hey, Jeff.
How you doing?
This is my best birthday present so far today, especially since Matthew didn't answer. I got to squeeze in.
Yeah, happy birthday. You're a fellow Sagittarius.
Absolutely. We need more Sagittarians in the world. Can never have enough.
Yeah.
So I'm not in a car, so you don't have to mute me this time. And so I get to ask my follow-up question from last time and maybe one other. Avatar question. So I have 4 avatars that I've put together. And one of them I kind of refer to as my low-hanging fruit avatar. and basically I'm teaching healing arts trainings and practitioner trainings and things like that, and I'm going to be launching a virtual training. And what you suggested last time, I was going to do it as a free training, and you suggested that that should actually be the PLC stuff, leading into a low-priced, high-value training that then leads to a bigger deal, partial live, partial virtual training after that. And the low-hanging fruit avatar is essentially massage therapists who, and therefore they already have some healing arts training, they have some anatomy, physiology, and background and things like that. And so they've already taken that step into the healing arts, whereas the other three avatars are people looking for something to do with their life and want to do, you know, something that helps other people.
Got it.
And the difference is, so what I kind of got...
And Adam, since we're in bonus time, we got to get to your question quick.
Okay. So what I got out of your list building extra course was to create separate lead pages for each avatar and have them all funnel in to the pre-launch content videos. And so I just want to confirm that I'm thinking of that in the right way. And then the only challenge for me is in that first video, I might speak a little differently to people who have some background versus the other three avatars who don't. So do I just focus on the low-hanging fruit avatar as an initial launch, or, you know, and not take on too much, etc.?
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's interesting because I have a similar type of thing. Like, you know, when I go through a launch, I've got broadly, you know, there's a lot of different categories, a lot of different avatars, but broadly, you know, I've got people that either are just starting a business, don't have a business, and then I have people that are starting that already have a business. I mean, you know, lots of different ways to split up the universe, but that's one big one for me. And really, I mean, they should have different conversations. You know, if you're just starting out, it's fundamentally a different conversation than if you've already got a business, you got a list, you got products. So ideally, what you would do is you would take people and you would somehow segment them when they first opted in, and then you'd have two different conversations with them. That's the ideal. The reality is I don't do it, and I don't know anyone else that does it.
So when you say segmenting, do you mean, so, you know, wherever I go to find my target avatar, a particular one, and then they get a link that's going to take them to a lead page. So for that avatar, that's going to be a lead page geared particularly for that audience.
Totally.
And I should have other lead pages for the other avatars.
Yeah, I mean, ideally that would be the way to do it. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
One other little thing. Oh, go ahead.
You can also segment them after the fact just by having them, you know, just based on their behavior once they're on their list. Like, hey, if you're interested in this, you can give them a link to click, and they can go click, and they could go either opt into a different list, or on some list management systems, you can treat them differently just based on the click. But, you know, the ideal is you would follow up with them differently. You know, not very many people are reaching that ideal.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that is the ideal.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
And Adam, we got to get happen there now. So.
Okay, so I don't get a follow-up?
No.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Adam.
Next time, but thank you for taking that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Okay, folks, that is we're wrapping our call now, and we'll be back next week. Thanks so much for hanging in there. That was a great call. We had some super advanced ones. I got to go deep on some, and it was just a really good call. I really enjoyed doing it. Thanks for being there. Thanks for participating with me. Thanks for staying with me in all the comments. I love seeing you. Even though I'm not taking that many questions from the comments, I'm sitting here doing my best to read them, and I do go back through them after the fact. Basically, I go through a log of them after the fact, and they do, you know, then it will impact what I answer next week, and when I'm going in, what I'm answering in the portal, and even like what I'm shooting blog videos for. So, thanks for being there. Really enjoyed it, and we'll see you again next week. Get to Module 4 and look forward to Module 5. Module 5, well, 4 is incredible, and 5 is going to be just epic, epic. So thanks a lot, and let's go get them this week.